Friends, welcome to my workplace at Ranaghat, West Bengal, India. This is a totally unedited recording of emulsification of a cataract with grade 4 nuclear sclerosis. In this case, I tried stop and chop technique, but the initial trench was not through the center of the nucleus, it was eccentric. So I made a T-trench and divided the nucleus into 3 parts. Let us observe this surgery. By this time the main incision and a side port on the right side of the main incision have been made, and this is another side port on the left side of the main incision. And now this is an air bubble. Underneath this air bubble, trypan blue dye is applied over the anterior capsule. Then the dye is washed out with BSS using a 23G Simcoe cannula. And now 2% HPMC is injected into the anterior chamber. The HPMC is applied over the cornea for better visibility. And now I take a Utrata forceps, scratch onto the anterior capsule, raise a capsular tag, hold the tag, go anti-clockwise, guide the tag all around and do a CCC. And this CCC took the shape of an apple. And now is the time to do hydrodissection. This is 27 gauge cannula attached to a 5cc syringe with BSS, and the hydrodissection is done and nuclear rotation is done. Some more visco, and now is the time to introduce the tip of the phaco needle. The machine being used is Ocular Cataract 3 from Switzerland. Initially the phaco needle goes bevel down, some superficial cortex is removed, and then the handpiece is turned to make the bevel up. And now I start making the trench and see what is happening. I'm thinking it is through the center of the nucleus, but actually the larger portion of the nucleus is on the left side and a smaller portion of the nucleus is on the right side. I thought of dividing the nucleus only into 2 parts, but then I find that this larger portion needs to be divided. So I make a T-shaped trench, a perpendicular trench to the initial trench, and thus this is the shaft of the T and this is the roof of the T, and the nucleus is getting ready to be divided into 3 parts. So this is 1, and now yes. Now I tilt each part and start emulsifying. The trenching was done with phaco power 70%, flow rate was 20, and vacuum was 80 millimeter of mercury. And now this emulsification is being carried out with vacuum of 400, flow rate is 40 ml per minute, and ultrasonic power is 65%. This is the last piece of the nucleus. And note one more thing. In this case, all the cortex has come out. There is no cortex to be removed. However, I inject visco and use the Simcoe to see if there is any cortex inferiorly or not. Yes, there was no cortex. It's only few cells sticking to the posterior capsule, and that has come out. Some more polishing. In this case, I am going to use a B cartridge for implantation of the intraocular lens. So I am going to enlarge the main wound little bit, making the incision about 3 mm. And now this is a single piece monofocal intraocular lens. This is hydrophobic material, and the lens has gone into the capsular bag. This is a bit of moxifloxacin, and now the sideboards are closed by hydrating corneal stroma with BSS. Always inject BSS on the outside of the sideboard, on the scleral side of the sideboard, so that you never come across a Descemet's membrane detachment. And this is polishing of the undersurface of the anterior capsular rim, and the lens is nicely covered all around by a rim of anterior capsule. The lens is nicely centered. Integrity of all the stab incisions are checked, and the case is concluded. Thank you very much for your attention. Hope this video will help you in developing your surgical skills. Be a great surgeon and serve your patients with love, respect, empathy, and great surgical competence.